Yo, what's going on? Welcome back to another live. Welcome back to another live here on the Between the Numbers Sports Show. We're gonna be talking about LSU versus Nicholls State, and kind of what to expect. And also we're gonna be talking about how Brian Kelly is buttering up the fans, and the LSU media is allowing him to do it. So let's start with the preview, right? So LSU is going to be taking on Nicholls State this Saturday at Tiger Stadium, the first home opener in the stadium, right? They did a lot of upgrades this offseason in the stadium. They got this nice LED lighting and a big old um uh what's that called? Big screen or whatever, right? And so Nicholls State is coming to town, man. And preview what's to be expected. Of course, LSU is gonna work on the things that they was weak on versus USC, right? So starting off on the offensive side of the ball, um, run blocking, right? LSU offensive line was phenomenal in pass protection versus USC, but it was terrible in run blocking. The tight ends was the lowest grade group in terms of run blocking, right? Mason Taylor, Pimpton, those guys did not do very good in the run game. And we all know that tight ends, have to block. You have to block in the run game. And so of course, you're going to see LSU um, working on the run game with the offensive line and trying to feed those running backs. Before I go any further, I just want to say prayers to uh, John Emery Jr., right? Prayers to him. He tore his ACL, I believe, again. And so he's out for the season. So prayers to him, man. This kid looked really good versus USC. And now he got hurt in practice and he's done for the season. So prayers for him. This is probably the end of his career, but I would love to see LSU offer him a coaching spot somewhere on that coaching on that in that coaching room, right? Offer him a coaching spot. But let's get back to it. So yeah, so you're gonna see LSU work on the run game versus Nicholls State. Of course, they're gonna dominate Nicholls State, right? They're gonna dominate Nicholls State in the run game. And on the defensive side of the ball, you're gonna see LSU work on the secondary, not giving up big plays, um, and obviously not making undisciplined, boneheaded mistakes in the game. Um, I personally think that LSU should give on the offensive side of the ball. I think that I know for a fact it's probably going to happen, right? It's going to be a blowout, and so um, I think that LSU should give a lot of the young running backs um, on that LSU team. I think a lot of the young running backs should get some snaps, right? Um, on the defensive side of the ball, I think that we should just run with the freshmen at cornerback, right? We should run with the young guys in the secondary, right? And so those young guys, right, at left cornerback, you got Ashton Stamps, you got PJ Woodland, and then you got Jovian Tovar. And so I think that's what we should do. On the right cornerback, you got Sage Ryan. Sage Ryan has been at LSU for a while now. They had him at safety. He was getting burnt. He couldn't tackle. They got him at corner. He can't tackle, getting burnt. I think we're seeing enough of the Sage Ryan experiment. And I think you should, I know J.K. Johnson is hurt, the transfer from Ohio State. But I don't know if he's full speed, but I think you got to just bench Sage Ryan, man. You got to bench Sage Ryan and, put PJ Woodland over there, man. The starting cornerbacks need to be Ashton Stamps and PJ Woodland, right? PJ Woodland is a freshman. Ashton Stamps is a true sophomore, so they consider young guys. Just put them at cornerback. We got to get them. We got to get them all of the snaps that they can get for when we take on Ole Miss, right? And I'm not overlooking South Carolina, uh, but we got to get them their snaps in this game right here versus Nicholls State, right? Put Sage Ryan on the bench, man. Major Burns, put him on the bench too. Put Major Burns on the bench. Um, let's see what Jair Brown got as a star shit, even played a freshman, Jawan Johnson. I know he a freshman. He might be a little small, but let's see what he got. Shit, anything is better than Major Burns and Sage Around. Let's see what they got. Play some young guys, move some young guys around over that shit. Move one of the freshmen around. Put Colin Jackson down now, right? Put one of them freshmen at the star spot, man. Sit Major Burns ass on the sideline. You're gonna see, right? LSU is gonna do well versus Nicholls State. They're gonna blow Nicholls State out. And everyone's gonna be jumping for joy and hollering about, oh yeah, here we go, we back. And that leads me into what I wanted to say with Brian Kelly, right? So Brian Kelly, I don't care what anyone says. Brian Kelly threw Nussmeier under the bus. You see all of the fans on X and everything saying, "Oh, I want to run through a wall for Brian Kelly. He loves his players, bro." He threw Nussmeier under the bus. He said that Miller Moss outplayed Nussmeier. If that's not throwing somebody under the bus, what the hell is it? Are you trying to do this so you can get inside of Nussmeier's head to make him play better? Or are you trying to destroy this dude's confidence? We see it all the time in the NFL. We saw it with Carson Wentz. Who else? We saw it with Carson Wentz. I'm trying to think of what other NFL teams brought in a good backup, and the starter was butthurt. But RG3. We saw it with a bunch of starting quarterbacks in the NFL where they brought in a backup quarterback, and their confidence was affected, right? And so even though LSU is not bringing in another backup quarterback, or they're not saying, hey, someone else is going to be taking snaps from Gary Nussmeier, saying that your quarterback got outplayed by the opposite team's quarterback, you don't think that's going to mess with that kid's head? Now, Garrett Nussmeier is a coach's son, so I'm pretty sure he has really tough skin, but that's nothing for you to say about your quarterback to the media. You're supposed to be ride or die with the guys that you got in that room, right? With the guys that you got on that roster. And for you to say some bullshit like that, he outplayed our quarterback, that's bullshit. So, and then you got the I'm so mad, banging on the table like he did and all of that stuff. And then he tried to walk it back on the Paul Feinbaum show, hollering about, Kyron Lacey and Major Burns. They're really good kids, and I'm sure they are really good kids. But again, them playing undisciplined, them getting flags and all those things falls directly on you as the head coach, along with your coaching staff. And this is what we see every year, right? Since Brian Kelly been the head coach, we get our ass beat in the season opener. We play a softer team the next game. The LSU fans are mad at Brian Kelly for the first game because we lost, and then we blow out a team in the second game, and then everyone's like, "Oh, we're back, we love Brian Kelly." Hell no, nah. I'm off the Brian Kelly bandwagon. I gave him 3 years. I didn't even like the hire, honestly. I didn't like the hire when we hired him. I didn't want Jimbo Fisher either, but I didn't like the hire because we seen Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. We seen him in the playoffs get blowed out. We seen him in the national championship versus Alabama get annihilated, right? When Brian Kelly has to play an elite coach, he shrinks. He's gonna outcoach the Nicholls State head coach, but whenever he goes against a more elite coach, he shrinks, right? So what's some elite coaches he got to play this season, right? In SEC, Lane Kiffin, he got to play Kellen DeBoer, he got to play Brent Venables, right? Those are big time coaches that's coming with big time programs, right? And so I'm begging the LSU fans, I'm an LSU fan myself, not to be so delusional. I prefer the truth. I want to seek the truth, and I'm not going to sit up here and let someone dangle a carrot in front of my face the way how Brian Kelly does, and the LSU fan base fall in love with him. Now, I'm not saying fire Brian Kelly. I'm not saying fire Brian Kelly, but because his buyout is $56 million. He ain't going anywhere. But if it hasn't happened already, I think that they need to have the executives, the people in power at LSU need to sit Brian Kelly ass down and be like, all right, now, come on now, you done dropped the season opener 3 years in a row. I seen people saying that Brian Kelly is still dealing with the effects of Coach O. Really? Coach O been gone 3 years. Nah, Brian Kelly did take over a team that had a little bit of didn't have a lot of players on scholarship, but that's long gone. The first year that he took over as a head coach, he won the SEC. He won the West. He won the West. He went against Georgia, got blown out. We all knew that was gonna happen, but he won the West. So those excuses that this is Coach O fault, that shit is long gone, man. That shit is long gone. I just don't want people to lose sight of what we see from Brian Kelly when he has to go against an elite coach, right? I don't want people to lose sight of that at all. I don't want people to lose sight of that. Of course, I'm not going to watch the Nicholls game at all because I already know LSU are going to blow them out. I'm not going to watch it. I'm going to watch the South Carolina game because I'm going to be at that game. I live 2 hours away from the University of South Carolina. I'm going to go to that game. I'm going to go support my LSU Tigers. But that's the game I'm going to watch because that's going to be a higher level of competition for LSU. And of course, I'm going to watch the Ole Miss game. I'm not going to go to that game because, I'm not. I'm going to watch the UCLA game. I'm not going to that game, but I'm going to watch it on TV. I'm going to watch the Ole Miss game. But I don't really watch all of LSU's games when they play cupcake teams because, of course, everything they're going to try to work is going to work because it's a lesser opponent. I want to see them be able to execute at a higher level versus a good opponent. And moving on to LSU media, they just throwing Kelly softball questions, and he knocking them out of the park, and the fans are like, yeah, Kelly, yeah, I'll run through the wall for Brian Kelly. Man, I'm off the Brian Kelly bandwagon. I'm done with Brian Kelly, bro. I'm done with Brian Kelly. I'm done. People are saying, oh, he's still going to win a national championship. Brian Kelly ain't winning no damn national championship at LSU, man. LSU is we're just going to be a good, 9 or 10 win team, win a bowl game, right? Maybe sneak into the playoffs, but we're just gonna be a competitive team. I'm completely off the bandwagon with Brian Kelly, man. People are saying, oh, well, what about next year's recruiting class? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, we're gonna have a good recruiting class next year, but things not even syncing up right for us, man. Like we about to have a lot of turnover on that offensive line. We're about to lose 2 first round picks in Emory Jones and Will Campbell, right? We're about to lose 2 first round draft picks on the offensive line, right? Probably one of the wide receivers are going to hop in the portal, probably CJ Daniels or whatever. Probably going to hop in the portal. I mean, not in the portal, sorry, in the draft. Mason Taylor's probably going to hop in the draft, right? So it would be great if a lot of that continuity from this team for this season was able to merge with the continuity from the team the recruiting class is coming in 2025. But I was watching was it OTB off the bench, right? And they refused to be tough on Brian Kelly. Now maybe it's because they have to still interview Brian Kelly and talk to him and work with him, but they just refuse to say the things that needs to be said. That the LSU team too much under Brian Kelly in big games seem unprepared and are undisciplined, and that Brian Kelly seems to not be good versus other elite teams. Brian Kelly versus, I think Brian Kelly versus top 10 teams is like 3-9 or some BS like that, right? Now I know USC was not. Hold on, let me just Google it real fast. Brian Kelly versus top. Yeah, so against elite programs, right? Against elite programs, Kelly, he struggled. He's in. Let me hold on. Who the hell is this? Oh, he struggled, right? So, after Saturday's loss, right? After Sunday's loss, he is 4-13 versus top 10 teams, since 2010, right? So Brian Kelly is awful versus top 10 teams. Terrible. He's He's 4-13 versus top 10 teams. Now USC was not a top 10 team, but um, what does that tell you? If LSU starts to if LSU wins all of the rest of the games for the season, and then well, getting up to Ole Miss, right? Ole Miss is definitely a top 10 team. What does that tell you? LSU sucks versus top 10 teams. So you can already probably count that Ole Miss loss as an Ole Miss game as an L. And then Alabama is a top 10 team right now. Alabama is ranked within the top 10. Um, you might as well count that as an L too, because Brian Kelly sucks versus top 10 teams. He's 4 and what is he? 4. Yeah, my man's is 4-13. He's 4-13 versus top 10 teams. So hey, it's pretty much a given if we get into the playoffs and we got to face a team that's ranked within the top 10, or that's considered an elite coach. We ain't gonna go nowhere very far at all. We probably gonna get our ass whooped, and we're gonna have to go home, take our ball and go home, because as much as I am confident in the kids on this team, right? Gary Nussmeyer, our running backs, our offensive line, our defensive line, all of the defense, right? The defense looked good. I'm just not confident in Brian Kelly having a team prepared and ready versus an elite opponent. And so what I want to tell y'all is, sure, LSU is going to look good versus Nicholls, but do not sleep on Brian Kelly. Don't think that our problems from the first game versus USC is over, because things are always better when you win, and things are going to look a lot better when you're going against a team like Nicholls State. And I don't want to just keep beating up on Nicholls State, but Nicholls State is not on the same level as LSU. So I expect LSU to beat them pretty bad. But I don't want everyone to be, drinking their whiskey and drinking their beers and stuff, watching the game, saying, hell yeah, that's how you do it, LSU. Don't be that way, because they should look like that versus Nicholls State, right? And Brian Kelly's already doing it. If you look at his press conferences, right, he's already talking about it, right? He's already talking about, are they going to work on the things that they need to work on versus Nicholls State? Okay, and those things are going to work. The things are going to work. Our offensive line is light years above and ahead of Nicholls State's defensive line, right? And our defensive line should be light years ahead of Nicholls State's offensive line, right? So a lot of things you're going to see from LSU versus them is going to be magnificent, because they're a lesser opponent. But let's see those same things work against South Carolina. South Carolina, I 100% expect LSU to win that game. But let's just see if if they are more disciplined, if they play, better, right? And if Coach Kelly has the team disciplined and ready and prepared to go, right? So that's all I'm saying. But yeah, I fully expect LSU to wallywop Nicholls, and everyone's gonna be saying, "Oh yeah, we're back. We look so good," but watch how LSU plays versus a better opponent in USC. I mean, sorry, UCLA and USC, and we'll go from there. I don't put much stock in what Brian Kelly does and says when we're going against a lesser opponent, and I'm just completely 100% off the Brian Kelly bandwagon. I believe in our players. I believe in the kids. I want to see them do better. I want to see them do good. But I can give two shits about what Brian Kelly got going on, because I'm completely off the Brian Kelly bandwagon. It's been 3 years in a row. We can't win a goddamn season opener to save our lives. If the world depended on it, they say, hey, if LSU win this season opener, we're not going to blow the world up with a nuke. Nope. We're gone. The whole world is annihilated, because, can't win a fucking season opener to save our lives. So that's it. Preview: LSU is going to beat Nicholls State probably by 20 plus points. So if you're playing that spread, I don't gamble, but you're probably going to win some money. You're going to be happy that LSU won. We're going to look good in every facet of the game, offense, defense, special teams, and we're going to think everything is good. And I'm just saying, don't hold your breath. Let's see what happens when we go against a tougher opponent in the next 2 weeks versus UCLA and North Carolina. All right, so rant over. That's it for me. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. You know, are y'all still on the Brian Kelly bandwagon? Do y'all still believe Brian Kelly is going to bring a national championship to LSU? If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Leave a like, leave a comment. It helps the channel, helps with the algorithm, however you say it. And hit that bell notification button so you can stay up to date when I go live, and then also when I drop new videos. Until next time, I'm out.